Welcome to Uncontained episode 170, and this week I find myself back at Voice One Studios in San Francisco, California, and I'm talking to up-and-coming voice actor Dylan Barrows, and it's great. I love the aspect of this show where I talk to people who are doing it and have been doing it for years and have been succeeding, and then also to people who are just starting to get that taste of success, because the advice that they give you will be completely different. Some of it may be the same, but they will have that advice that will relate to the person just getting started out fresh in their mind, so they'll be able to share it with you. There's a lot of great advice in this show for anybody who wants to jump into doing voiceover. And even if you don't want to get into voiceover, this will be an entertaining episode for you. Let's just jump on into the episode. This is how voiceover actor Dylan Barrows lives uncontained. How are you doing today, dude?
Doing great. Feeling good.
Great.
Nice Friday.
Thank you for joining me today, Dylan. So we actually met back in the beginning of May.
Yes.
When my fiance and I came in here and did a video game hero read, or be your own hero with
Yeah.
Elaine, and got to talking about the podcast, and you do voiceover as well. So
Yeah.
I figured, it'd be fun to have Elaine on, the one that founded Voice One, and then also have you on, who came in, you said before we started talking, about 6 months ago as an intern,
Uh-huh.
and are chasing after your dream. You're in two completely different stages right now.
Yeah.
And I like to get the feel of, all levels of the entertainment industry. So talking to you should be pretty cool. Get into,
Hope so.
because I'll be 100% honest with you, because I actually want to get into voiceover as
Yeah.
well, and I get to pick your brain for a little while, see what you've
Sure.
picked up along the way. So, all right. So first of all, for my audience, do you have an introduction? Could you please introduce yourself? I'll stop tripping over
No,
my
no,
words
no.
here in
It's
a minute.
look. It's been a long week. It's late. We'll
I know,
be all
dude.
right.
I
I'm not
know.
just like, you need to be perfect. Get it right.
What I need to do is just sit back here, relax on the couch, and have a conversation.
Yeah. Oh, open those legs up and just
Yeah, no,
nod,
not that
kinda
far, not that
untie
far,
your belt
but
a little bit. Yeah. Just get comfortable.
do that Al Bundy
Oh
pose.
God.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can't do a podcast like that. Sorry. At home you could, but
I
not in
guess you got to
public.
keep some rapport. You got to tighten up the tie a little bit.
Yeah, the tie that I'm wearing
Very
right now.
beautiful suit you're wearing, by the way.
Yeah,
I love it.
yeah. My come and go shirt. This is actually a gas station in the Midwest, and people,
cute.
they see the sign and they have to stop and take pictures out of it. When you see people taking pictures of the sign, you're like, you're not from around
Yeah,
here,
it's
are
like
you?
this is the first time you've seen this. Yeah.
Yeah,
funny.
and the double entendre. But yeah, tell me a little bit about yourself.
My name's Dylan. I've been kind of doing voice acting for about 2-3 years now, somewhere around there.
Okay.
I moved to San Francisco here from Oregon, where basically my hometown. I grew up all my life. Came here to do voice acting. Went to college here in San Francisco at the Academy of Art, and that's where
Okay.
I had met Elaine. Took some of her classes. Then one day I just asked her if she needed any help moving and intern help, and she said yep, and that's where I'm at now.
Perfect. It pays to ask.
Certainly.
The worst she could have said is no, thanks.
Yeah, then I would have been bummed for like a week, but then I would have went about my day.
Yeah.
So that's
Yeah, it's a risk got to take,
yeah.
though.
And it worked out. It worked out. That's the thing. It's
It
like,
has.
it never, like you said, it never hurts to ask, and it's like a weird. It's kind of like a cliche saying, but unless you're asking something like really weird that you probably shouldn't. Most of the time, it's when you're in, the acting or entertainment industry business, like just kind of putting yourself out there and saying, "Hey, can I do this? I'm interested in
Yeah.
this."
Yeah, definitely. I guess the only times that it's probably not okay to ask is if you're at work and it's an HR violation,
Yeah.
or because there's something that could happen there, unless you don't want that job anymore.
Look, yeah, yeah, I've definitely I definitely went up to some people and said some things I shouldn't have to them just because they're they're bad and I hate this job, but not this job, but you know.
All right. Well, we'll make sure that's
Yeah,
clear,
can
Elaine.
you
He's
cut
not
that
talking
part out?
trash about. No, I'm
Oh
leaving
my
it
god.
in. No.
Trash me. Yeah, but that's in a nutshell, that's kind of it, you know.
All right. So, what was it that got you interested in voiceover?
Um well, you know, I grew up as all my life kind of watching cartoons, being really interested in all that, and uh I don't remember how old I was when I started realizing, you know, there's people behind those cartoon voices,
Mm-hmm.
but at some point I did, and so I got really interested in, you know, who those people were, how they did it, just kind of everything, and just got really interested in like who they are, and then one day, I remember watching a certain YouTube video. It was there was like a bunch of famous voice actors like John DiMaggio, Billy West, Tara Strong, you know, Jess Harnell, just people that are really known in like the voice acting cartoon voiceover world. But they were reading the script to a Star Wars: A New Hope, but they were using their character voices to do it. So you had moments that are like Bubbles from the Powerpuff Girls would be Darth Vader. Jake the dog from Adventure Time was like Luke Skywalker at one point. So it was really fun. I just had like the biggest, dorkiest smile on my face the whole time, and I was like, "Oh, wait a minute! I kind of just want to do this. Like,
Yeah.
I kind of want to just be them, you know, and be one of them." So from that moment, I kind of realized everything, all my interests up until that point. That's exactly what that meant. Was I wanted to be a voice actor. So, um, fast forward 5 years, I kind of took my time, but you know,
It's all right.
yeah, here I am.
All right, cool, man. So, what was your first step? But if we can rewind that fast forward
Sure,
for a minute,
absolutely.
like, what was your first step to pursuing voiceover?
It was hard because I wanted to make sure that I did things the right way, and for acting or voice acting, that's kind of hard because there's a lot of different avenues that you could take. You know, you could go to school, you could get private lessons, you could just read about it, you can watch, you know, there's there's so much that you can do to figure out what you want your path to be. So at first I didn't do a whole lot, but at,
You're honest. That's fair.
so I was just like, I was kind of one of those like pie in the sky. Oh my god, it was so great to do this! Wow. But I think for me, it was just having that feeling just live in my gut for so long, and then just one day being like, kind of dropping everything and just be like, all right, my life as it is here in my hometown, I'm just gonna leave that all behind and go move to California and pursue that. For me, that worked out. You know, I was always like watching videos online and reading stuff online, and that's always great.
Yeah.
But when I had moved, I had realized like, okay, there's a lot that I didn't know. You know, so it was so squeaky chair. So yeah, it was just kind of just saying like not just getting over the fear of, you know, leaving everything that I had known behind and taking the risk to go to a performing arts school was my first step. And you know, I know that's not feasible for everyone, obviously, but that's kind of what I did. I said like, you know, I'm not gonna be able to be happy with myself in 10 years if I just continue this way, because then I'll just wonder like, well, I missed my shot, you know, what if I did that, what would have happened?
Yeah, definitely, dude. I can I can relate to that. And I love that you said that at the beginning you didn't really do much. You were just the kid with the pie in the sky type look. Like, geez, it'd be really super duper to do
Yeah.
that, because that's where a lot of people are, and they're at that spot where it's like, oh, dude, it'd be so cool to be like an NBA player, or
Mm-hmm.
dude, it'd be so cool to be a rock star, stand-up comedian,
Totally.
voiceover actor, and they're like, how do you do that? I want to do that to be so awesome, but then that's where it
Yeah.
ends. To be able to have the drive and the follow through to actually take it to the next level, that I think that right there is what helps set people apart.
Yeah. And that's what I kind of tell people when they ask me something like that. I just say, like, you find the first step that you think is best and then just take it. But you have to you have to have some forethought and see, like, what would work for me, what would make sense for me, and then just doing that in itself is a lot, and then taking the next step to actually doing what you plan to do is like a whole nother thing. And it took me 5, maybe 6 years to do that. And
Yeah.
just kind of living my life the way that I thought I should, or that I thought I had to. And just just realizing one day, like, no, I need to do this. I have to do it, because if you want those things, if you want to be the NBA star or the stand-up comedian or the voiceover actor, all it takes is that first little step. It's hard. The hardest thing to do when you want to achieve something is to just gain the momentum to do it.
Yes.
So, but no other person is going to give you that momentum. So, like they say, the first step is the hardest.
It's cliche, but
I know,
it's
and
true.
I'm just full of cliches, but it's like, once you, I don't know, I'm 28 now. I'm not an old man by any means, but
Yeah.
I'm starting to get to the point where I'm realizing, like, man, all those cliches, they're cliche for a reason, because it's just, I wish I had better advice to give. That's not just like, oh, take the first step, like some stuff you'd see like in some mom's house with like waves behind it or whatever.
Yeah, some motivational
Yeah.
poster like with the cat
Yeah.
hanging there,
Like, but really, it's just wanting it badly enough, and knowing that no matter what other outcome you have in your life, you're not going to be happy unless you get this, or at least put everything you can into getting it.
very good words right there. Now, my question to you is for the person who is in the pie in the sky phase right now. Well, we'll dub it
Sure.
that for the rest of the show. Why
Yeah.
not? Let's do it. For the person who's in that phase and they want to take that like next step and can't, and I don't know, maybe can't necessarily just drop everything and go to art school. Do you have like an easy first step for somebody to take to kind of get them on to start them on that path?
Yeah. So, say, like, I guess voiceover. You want to get into voiceover, voice acting. The first thing you should do is just familiarize yourself with, we call it your instrument, because your voice is your
Yeah.
instrument in voice acting. Familiarize yourself what it can do, like how it sounds. Record yourself and listen to yourself a lot, because a lot of people's first reactions when they do voiceovers, like, oh my god, I sound like that.
Yes.
Like, I'm sure you've had it. I've had it. I've had classes with a bunch of people that are like, oh my god, I sound like that. So, like, I think it's really important to know, because you hear your voice differently through your ears.
Yes, definitely.
So you gotta get used to what is really coming out and what everyone else besides you is hearing. And that's why, like, a lot of people who think they're really good singers are, delusional, because they're like, oh, I sound so good in my head, but
Yeah.
so it's
and they ended up being the outtakes on the
American
American Idol
yeah.
from back in the day.
Yeah.
Like, where they're singing sounding like dolphin sounds.
Yeah.
Like,
So I think that's important. Just like recording yourself, and you don't need like a big fancy microphone. You can like recording equipment, headphones are getting like good headphones, good recording equipment is getting so inexpensive and so accessible these
Yeah.
days. You don't need the best stuff to get it. If you're just starting out, just get enough to where you can just hear yourself, listen to yourself a lot. Try and just play with what you can, because it's just like learning a piano. You got to kind of start playing with one finger at a time, learning where the notes are.
Gotta learn hot cross
Yeah,
buns.
you got to learn the hot cross buns of your voice. So that's it. It's just that's a step. And once you kind of get familiarized, if you can't, you don't have access to coaching or art school or performance school or whatever, just doing that is, you're gonna be having awareness of what you're capable of is going to put you ahead of those people anyways. It's going to help you know where you can grow.
Okay. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Um, it's kind of sounds kind of zenish in a way.
Yeah,
You
a little
got
bit.
the zen of
Yeah.
voiceover.
I self-awareness is like the what, for me at least, is one of like the biggest things I've learned in acting. It's just knowing, you know, what I'm capable of doing, and what when I try and do something, like what's actually happening. Uh, because when you have that disconnect there, you're never going to be able to sound like you want, or act
Yeah.
like you're trying to. You're never going to get the results, because you're not going to have like the ear training or whatever. You think you're playing like an A on the guitar, but you're playing an E. You're going to be kind of off. You need to make sure those letters are the same. It's the same with the voice.
Okay. All right. Yeah, it makes a lot of sense right there. Well, first, I want to take a step back because, like, I guess I was just remembering when the one of the first times I heard my voice was back when I was doing college radio.
Okay.
I was actually nervous at that point, but it was my start. Got to listen to like air check or something like that because they record
Mm-hmm.
and play it back kind of for FCC purposes and stuff like
Yeah.
that as well. But I listened to it the first time. I was like, oh crap, that's different.
Yeah. Yeah. You're just like,
That's like all I could say.
man. Yeah.
But then you get used to it. So I brought that up because I wanted to let
Mm-hmm.
people know that you will get used to hearing your
Definitely.
voice and it doesn't sound foreign to you anymore
Yeah.
after a
And
while.
I don't know if you might experience this too, but I noticed when it kind of shifted, and now the voice that I hear, like in, say, in the headphones that we're getting monitored in right now, is the same thing that comes out. So
Yeah.
eventually, like your brain or ears or whatever is happening in there will start to connect those things and hear it the way it's actually being said, if you kind of listen to it enough.
Yeah, without the resonance inside your head,
Yeah.
or whatever
Yeah,
it
it's
is.
just
I'm not a
some
scientist.
some brain science that just makes it work.
Yeah.
It's basically magic.
Let's. I'm
Yeah,
down for
it's
magic.
basically magic.
You just pulled a rabbit out of your mouth.
Yeah, you just cast some spell and now your brain works correctly. It might as well be, so
Yeah, definitely.
yeah.
So, now, what type of voice over do you typically do? Do you find yourself doing more like? Do you find yourself to be more of a character actor, a narrator, commercial script reader? Where do you find yourself fitting in?
Well, originally I'd got into this to be a character voice actor, so like cartoons, video games, anime, stuff like that. So I try and focus on doing that a lot more, but I also find myself kind of being like the kind of skeptical, snarky person that comes up in every ad sometimes, because I kind of got like that little side mouth thing going on, like really sort of thing, At least that's what I've
Okay. All
heard.
right, cool. So you got like kind of the sarcastic guy from the commercials, like I blanking on a commercial
Sure.
with a
Yeah.
sarcastic guy right
I was
now,
trying.
but
I was like rolling into it. I'm like, Dylan, I hope you get the perfect
come up with
example for
something.
this.
Come up with something.
Nope,
But
just fell flat.
yeah, I don't know. We can edit this part out if you want to think of something
No,
for a
it's
second.
fine. I like showing that I'm not. The gecko from. No, I'm not like the gecko from Geico.
Yeah, I actually had the Geico caveman on the
Oh,
show
really?
before. Yeah, John Lear. So that was a
Whoa.
fun one. So I got that through a connection of mine, Dan Hampel, who's been on the show
Huh.
as well. So it's
That must have been. That must have been wild. You must have had some stories.
it was cool. We talked about his like TV stuff too, because he has a show on Hulu or did called Quick Draw.
Mm-hmm. Didn't he actually get a spinoff as the caveman in his own show? I think.
There was a
Am I
caveman
making that
show.
up?
I don't know how much he was actually involved in it. I think we talked about that briefly, but it's been a couple years since I talked to him.
Yeah.
So, go back, listen to the episode,
Yeah,
people,
I could
find
just be
out.
like making that up in my mind, but I remember it's like, oh, we got the caveman from the Geico, and now he's in his own TV show. Like,
Yeah, the coolest thing I think about like his shows, um, they're all improv.
oh,
Like the scenes are set. All right, so it's set. You're in a bar. You're getting a drink. Somebody walks in. That's all gonna happen. But all the dialogue is all ad lib,
that's
all
that's
improvised.
awesome.
Do you do
I do.
improv? You
I
do. All right.
yeah, I kind of was introduced to that when I moved out here. That's when I really started getting into it and just realizing how much I love that. It's it's incredible, and I think if I go back and answer a question from before with this, uh, do improv. Find a way to do improv. It'll make you just a better actor in general. It'll make you a better like I don't want to say human being because I don't want to get all heady, but like it'll make you just it'll make you sharper. You know,
Okay. Yeah.
like improv is amazing. It's great. It's fun. If you get in with the right people, it's a wonderful experience that will just make you feel like you can do anything.
Do you have an improv group or troupe or what? I'm not sure on the proper terminology for that, but you can yes and me or no and
Either
me
of
if you
them are
want.
really fine.
Okay.
I think it's kind of the theater kid thing because they like troupe that makes them sound all like formal and stuff.
Yeah, yeah.
We're just some idiots that do improv. You know?
I like that approach to it because whenever you hear like improv talked about on like TV, it's always about like the snooty kid or something like that, like taking improv like way too seriously
Yeah.
or something like that. Like, no man, you can't do that. And it's like, no, you shouldn't be able to tell me you can't do that. You gotta
Yeah.
yes and me, man.
Or the people that are like improv is a way of life, and they're just
Yeah, like an
just-
improv cult.
yeah, just like some dude with like a fedora and a scarf, and he's just telling you how like improv is an ideology to mold your whole life around. It's like, I mean,
Yeah.
sure. I mean, you can kind of reduce anything down to that, but like for me, improv is just an outlet where I know it doesn't take anything else besides me just being there and having my imagination. And there's a lot of people that think, oh, you need to be funny to do improv, or you need to be, you need to have like a big imagination to do improv. It's like, you don't. You don't need to be funny. It's just like comedy, good comedy comes from just natural, well, it's timing, but natural
Yeah.
like situations that seem really truthful, like where you're like, oh, I would have thought of saying that or doing that, and that's funny, so
Yeah.
even if you think you're not funny, you probably are, whoever's listening out there, and
Yeah.
just
yes.
find some people to do improv and just dive into that. And I think that's also another thing that would help you, with voiceovers.
Yeah, do you want to give your improv group a shout out? And are you guys performing anywhere anytime soon?
Yeah, I'll give them a shout out. The improv troupe at Academy of Art, the fight night. We perform 3 times a semester. 6 times a year at 620 Sutter Theater every last Wednesday of the month, I believe it shakes out to be. Something
Okay.
like that. A lot of great people in there. Just a lot of fun times and just really good improvers that, you know, I've learned a lot from, and now I feel I want to pass that on to other people who want to find a love for improv in the way that I did. So
Yeah, yeah. You know what's interesting? I've had improv come up on my show a lot. Like it's something that I've kind of wanted to do too, but haven't. I've done stand-up comedy. I've done like a few things, but I haven't got around
yeah.
to like joining an improv group or getting in with a group of people doing improv. But it's come up on the show a lot, and it seems to be kind of a building block for a lot of
Hmm.
things. They're like, you do improv and you can do things
Yeah,
like, you just start with improv, it'll open up your mind
totally.
or something like that. So yeah, maybe I'll have to actually do improv at some point, and I think it'd be fun. I'm a good BSer.
Yeah, that's all. That's all it is. That's all improv is just you say whatever you come to mind, and then you just commit to whatever it is that you just said. No matter how wild it is, you commit to whatever that thing is.
That kind of reminds me of Seinfeld.
Mhm.
George Costanza is like, it's not a lie if you believe it.
Yeah.
They were asking him how he passed like a lie detector. He's like, if you believe it, it's not a lie.
That's pretty funny. That's pretty good. That's a good point.
There's some logic in
Sure.
there that
I mean
works.
that's a it's a valuable lesson for actors too. It's like you believe it, you're not acting, you're not lying, you're doing it.
You're living your
Yeah, there
truth.
you go.
Yeah, something like that.
Um,
So,
there's I'll shout these guys out real quick.
oh,
At Piano
definitely.
Fight on, it's a bar kind of in downtown San Francisco, Nob Hill area.
I've heard of it. I haven't been there.
They do a great like just drunken improv, like open stage improv kind of thing, every Tuesday night. That you just go there, and first time I went, it was just I kind of was nervous, but then everyone there was just like super. They were super awesome. They're super open. They're just very supportive of even like the bad jokes. They would boo in good humor, you know.
Yeah. All
Whereas
right.
like they would make you feel good about flopping, you know. So it's just like it's just a good fun environment. So I would recommend that if you want to.
All right, cool. So you said an open night. It's like an open mic, but for improv, anybody can get involved in
Yeah,
it.
so like two guys run it. Their names escape me right now, but two guys run it, and they'll kind of set up like what the games are or whatever, and then if you want to get up and join it, you can feel free to do so. If you just want to sit there and watch and have a good time, you're free to do so. Grab a drink, watch some dumb drunk idiots do improv, and have a good
Okay.
time. Shout some stuff. It's like, yeah, the couple times that I've went, like it's been a great environment, and it's just kind of putting yourself into a world. If you want to do something, just like kind of like I said before, you just kind of put yourself into that world and start connecting with people. Like things kind of get easier to do because you realize like, oh, you found an improv troupe just like that. Okay, I if I know where to look, or if I'm finding that I'm going in the right direction, I'm going to keep going. You know.
Yeah, yeah.
So
So with the piano fight improv night, so people in the crowd can just shout stuff out too, or is
yeah,
it
sometimes
like
they do that. Like sometimes they'll encourage like people just they'll have like one of those, say like a game that's like, oh, you think of a word or a phrase that kind of correlates to like what's happening. You can kind of shout it out, or obviously they ask for the audience suggestions, things like
yeah?
that. They really encourage audience participation. So if that's like, if if you don't want to get up but you still kind of want to participate in this like improv, you know creation or whatever that's happening, like you can still do that without like putting yourself up and being in front of lights and people, if that's kind of like a lot for you, you know?
Yeah, yeah. So basically, what you're saying is if you're that guy at a stand up comedy show that's always yelling out stuff and where it's inappropriate there to do, it's viewed as heckling, this is your spot to go. This is like go to like
Yeah.
there's two different kinds of hecklers. There are a few different kinds of hecklers in my mind. There's the ones that, are just heckling to be like mean and
Mhm.
like destructive to people. That's not
Yeah.
cool. But then there's the heckler, which still isn't cool in stand up, but it fit this where it's like they're like yelling out stuff that they think is funny because they want to be part of the show. You
Yeah.
know, it's like I think that person might find a spot to fit in right there.
Yeah, no, it's totally that, you know. It's like they make an environment that's like everything's kind of in good faith, you know?
Yeah,
And so like I really appreciate that a lot about that place. And that's like a lot of that's like in our improv group as well at my school. It's just we try and create a good environment for it, because improv is like, it's the scariest thing for a lot of people, because they think there's so much pressure from having to be funny and having to do things right. And it's just like when you create an environment that's just totally, you know makes people feel comfortable and kind of like breaks down all those barriers they
yeah,
have, it's just so easy for them to just kind of put themselves out there. you know like they'll let you know if you're crossing the line. They'll be like, all right, look, you gotta, there's the door, get out of here, you're being a jerk, you're making this worse for everybody. But
yeah. So there obviously some guidelines you have to
yeah,
follow. Just general civil
yeah, just don't
guidelines.
be a dick,
Yeah,
basically.
pretty much. Don't be a dick and you'll be
Yeah,
fine. Or if you are a dick, at least be a
yeah,
friendly
just
dick.
be
Be
funny at least.
yeah, be a funny dick and you'll be
Yeah,
fine.
we can appreciate jokes, but man, uh,
Yes, yes. All right, man. So we haven't even talked about your band that you did before,
oh
but I'm
yeah,
just throwing that
sure.
out there. Just as things you've done. You were in a band when you were back home in Oregon. What was the name of the band? Just shout it out so people can like go back look up old YouTube videos or
We were
something.
Dethroning the Deceiver. We were a melodic death metal band.
Melodic death
Mm-hmm.
metal. Is that like the Eagles of death metal type thing,
Kind of, yeah.
or
So like big influences or stuff like the Black Dahlia Murder, Faceless,
okay?
things like that. So we were just like really like all screaming super fast, like heavy
Oh,
drum.
okay. When I was hearing melodic death metal, I was thinking something else. But go ahead,
No,
continue
yeah.
your explanation.
No, like everything's really fast. The guitars are like playing stuff that might as well be like classical music, but with distortion.
Exactly.
It's yeah. I was doing that for, God, I don't know, a while. We were just kind of kicking around, writing songs, playing shows, and never really got super big, obviously, but
Yeah.
it was still like a fun time that my friends were just playing metal for a bit, and I kind of got to scream in people's faces for a while.
Nice.
So like it's fun. It's really cathartic, I think. I find metal music very cathartic, because it's just like
Same here, my friend.
everything that you're like holding inside of you is just so aggressive, and you just like ooze it out through your pores or whatever, and you're just like, all right, I feel good now. I'm like a balanced person. So
Yes, definitely. And you said like the whole metal is more like is like classical music with distortion. It's like true.
mhm.
I've always thought that it is the form of music besides classical music that is the most like classical
Yes.
music because it's so if not necessarily the power chord metal,
Right.
where it's just like a lot of the stuff you hear on the radio.
Yeah.
But that's okay. I'm a former DJ. I can say that.
Yeah.
But that's so scaleistic and
Mhm.
remove the distortion. You got Flight of the
Yeah,
Bumblebee,
you got some like
or
Mozart or some stuff. Yeah. Yeah, no, and it's cool, like, cuz I tell a lot of people that it was like, no, this is like they're using like jazz song structure in this. They're using, like, it's just fast, but they're using like all the drum patterns or the chord progressions. It's
yeah,
just the same as in this jazz song that's from the 1920s.
Except it sounds
Yeah,
angry.
except they're just screaming about God not being real or whatever they're doing, you know? They're just it's
Yeah.
scary because a lot of people are like, this is so much information, but it's like, this is like nice, and for me I'm just like, I'm having a good time. I'm just like relaxing, you know?
Yeah, and the more you listen to metal, you can also dissect the instruments
Mm-hmm.
too. The more it's kind of like back to voiceover, training your ears to hear yourself. Like the more you listen to metal, the more you can separate the guitar from the bass, from the drums, from instead of like people who don't listen to metal a lot, it probably sounds like audio
Yeah.
sludge.
Uh-huh.
But when you listen to it, you actually get to break that
Mm-hmm.
down some, and you start to understand what they're saying when they're screaming a lot of the
Yeah.
times.
Oh, that's the
And
big thing. They're like, I don't understand what they're saying. Like, you
yeah,
don't. You don't
yeah.
understand. I do, and it's beautiful. There's just some poetic ass lyrics and just
Yes.
wonderful stuff this guy is talking about. But hey, go ahead.
All right, one more comment on the band, then I'm moving on to the second half of the
Sure.
show. When you said melodic metal, I was thinking something kind of along the lines of Richard Cheese and Lounge Against the Machine version of metal. Like,
Oh, I haven't heard of either of those actually.
you don't know who Richard Cheese is? And, like, he does lounge covers of songs. So he does Slipknot, like
Hmm.
that. He covers People Equal Shit,
Huh.
but sings it lounge style.
I've
Like,
probably heard this before in my life, and the name's just not clicking in there.
did you ever watch? I may be wrong on this, but the Ozzy Osbourne show on MTV.
Like a long time ago.
Like, I think the opening credits, it was Crazy Train saying lounge style, right?
Yeah.
That
Oh,
was him.
really? Okay.
Yeah.
So,
So
so it's
he,
like some like postmodern jukebox, but for metal, basically.
yeah, and they do other things too,
Huh.
but it's cool. Just listen to it for a while. You'll laugh your ass off and be like, oh, that's
Is
really
it?
cool.
Is this the same dude that did Down for the Sickness, but as
Yes.
for the
Yes.
yeah,
Disturbed.
one of the Dawn of the Dead movies? Is that the same
Yes.
guy?
He's like, gotta get up, get
Okay.
down.
Nope.
This
Yep.
is
I know. Yep.
the fucking guitar.
Yeah. I know exactly who this is now. Okay.
Yeah,
See?
yeah. So I was thinking something along those lines or
No.
something like that. Melodic metal. How does that?
No.
But
No. No.
the melody of the guitar
Yeah.
makes sense.
Yeah.
Check it out. I'm a little behind on my
No. That's
terminology
that's
right now.
okay.
Been
I,
smoking too much crack in the alleys here in San Francisco on my
I
way.
that's what happens. Like someone
It's a
approached me.
rite of
They're
passage.
like, look, you've been here for 3 years and you haven't smoked any crack. We might have to kick you out. I'm just like, oh shit, y'all, you really? They're like, yeah, it's kind of in our charter, and I'm like, oh well, okay, I didn't vote for this, but I guess democracy rules or whatever. I can't
Exactly,
fight a piece
man.
of paper. So
There you go. There you go. All right. So now that we've got the crack out of the way, and you've done it though, right? So you're still
oh yeah,
here
no,
and
it's
you've
it's
joined the
fine.
club. All right.
I'm a
You
seasoned
did it
veteran.
once. You did it once at
Mhm.
least.
Yeah, they really needed to make sure I wasn't a cop. So what else could I do
Yeah.
to prove that? I had to do crack right in front of them. You know?
No narcs in the bay,
Yeah.
man. No narcs in the
I can't have
bay.
them thinking
That's
I'm
all I gotta
uncool.
say.
Like, come on.
Peer pressure isn't tough if you give into
Yeah,
it.
see? Exactly. You get it. You get it. All you got to do is just do the crack, and then
Just be like everybody
people
else.
think you're cool. That's all it
Exactly.
takes.
Exactly, man. Yeah. Yeah. That's the way.
Yeah.
That's the way you roll in the bay.
Don't do crack. Oop. I'm
Yeah,
not
please
endorsing
don't do-
crack.
We are not endorsing crack here on Uncontained or
Or
yeah.
anywhere.
So yeah, don't do drugs.
Or if you do, just that's whatever. Live your life, but you probably
If you
shouldn't.
do, if you do, don't do it because we told you.
There you go. That's the disclaimer.
There you go.
There's no one can get lawyers after us now.
Yes, yes. All right. So let's move away from
Okay.
crack.
Finally,
What
heroin.
advice would you give? All right, let's talk about heroin. Yes, and that shit. See, we're improving. What advice would you give to somebody who is looking to get started out in voiceover? You kind of gave a little bit early on, but if you have another piece of advice you want to throw out there, I'd love to hear it.
It's just seeking out the knowledge. Just it's all there's you got the internet. It all it takes is just typing down the words, how to do voiceover, and just having the sensibility to know, like, okay, this is when you try something, this is working, this person knows what they're talking about. Just doing the research, finding books that are really good. Like Elaine's got her book, which is amazing. It's called Your Money Where Your Mouth Is. I guess I should plug it. She probably did.
Yeah, we plugged it on
Yeah.
her show,
uh
along with her
yeah.
apps too.
uh
So you can check out a demonstration on the
yeah,
end of
and
her
those help a
show.
lot, and there's all kinds of stuff out there. There's like, Udemy is great if you want to do anything. There's It's a website that people make courses on that structure, learning, like, anything that you want: drawing, guitar, singing, uh, coding, like
Okay.
whatever you want. You um just seeking out the knowledge is the most important thing. If you really want to do it, you'll find the way to do it, no matter where you are. The best piece of advice that I can give is just don't make excuses for yourself not to do something you want,
Those right there are
unless it's
some
crack.
powerful words. Yes, unless it's powerful crack. Uh,
uh,
man, on the episode with Elaine, we kept on coming back to butts
mm,
and
as
talking
one
about
does.
butts and tightness, and now we're talking about cracks or crack, and it all
It
it
all
ties
ties into
into each other.
butts.
Every butt has a crack.
And then
Unless
sometimes every butt has crack in it. Well, not every butt, but some butts.
only
Look,
if they're
you got to
mules.
get those. You got to get those drugs to in the prison somew. How else are you gonna do
Exactly.
it?
We're not gonna be flagged by the by Trump and his I don't know, cronies.
Sure.
I don't know.
Probably good.
Whatever. I got
This
nothing. I got
Yeah.
nothing. Moving on.
Yeah, yeah.
Moving on. So yeah, every once in a while you run out of shit to say.
That's fine.
So
Hmm.
now, what do you do as a voiceover artist to promote yourself? You're probably not promoting yourself necessarily as much to the listener of your spots, but are you promoting yourself more to clients?
Yeah. So really, it's just reaching out to, because I'm independent. I'm not signed with any agencies or anything like that. So it's really just putting myself out there, trying to find my own work, um, promoting myself like however I can, and saying like, hey, this is what I do. I do this. I do voiceover. This is what my voice sounds like. This is what my voice can do. A lot of it's just networking, just getting to know people, like how you and I met, or
Yeah.
I've met some other people, like friends that know people that do that work in advertisement agencies and stuff like that, that need voiceovers and stuff. So really, it's just networking's kind of the lifeblood of acting, unfortunately. I mean, not unfortunately, but it's one of the things that you really have to learn how to do. I
Yeah.
mean, and that's kind of just with anything, really. It's you gotta learn how to get yourself out there, and you know truth be told, I'm not the best person in the world at this. I my fiance still does a lot of it for me, because she's the big, outgoing personality, that just can uncannily have everyone in the room just be interested in talking to her. So but it's still just one of those things that's like, you just talk to anyone, just join anything that you can, whether even if it's bad or may not work out. You may meet someone through it, you may get an opportunity through it.
Yeah.
um just just going for it, and just talking to people that you can help, that say, like, just offering yourself up to somebody, and just being like, this is what I can do. I can help solve your problems.
Yes, and I like that approach too. Like, because people would much while you're networking, like if you offer to solve something for them, they'll remember you a little
Mm-hmm.
bit more instead of, or at least remember you in a positive light a little bit more than being like networking, being like, hey, I have this problem, could you help me do
Right.
this? Or could you give me a shout out or get me in front of the right people type thing. Everybody wants something, but when you can give something to somebody, it kind of helps, I think.
Yeah, and I think people they resonate with that a lot more, because they think like they see you as like, oh hey, that's someone who can fit right here, when you don't gotta like go out and be like, oh, this is everything that I can do, and like be really like, I don't know, really,
Look what I
yeah,
can do.
but yeah, you don't got to be like really in their face about, like, oh, I'm a voice actor, hire me, do this, do that. You kind of just say this is what I can do, and then you be a human being after that.
Yeah.
Like if they ask questions about what you do, just show them what you know, show them your knowledge, and if you're professional and easy to talk to, that will resonate with those people. So
Yeah.
and I mean, I know it's easier said than done, but because people got social anxiety and all that stuff, but it's
Crack helps.
yeah, join, take a couple shots, you can talk to anybody.
Yeah, there you
Yeah,
go. There
don't
you
do
go.
that. I'm giving
All
such
right,
bad
man.
advice.
Besides the drug and shots part, that was actually really good advice. But yeah. So now you've been you've been in San Francisco how long now?
2.5 years, I want to say. Yeah,
And doing voiceover for, you said, nearly 5 years, or
somewhere
like
around there.
working at trying
Yeah,
to do
just
it.
kind of dipping my toes in, and then before I dive all the way in now, like I am. But
All
yeah,
right. All right. So, in that 5 years, what would you say would be a highlight or two that you care to share with the Uncontained audience?
um, I'd say probably having the courage and bravery to kind of drop it. I talked about this a little bit at the beginning or the top of the podcast, like just dropping kind of everything that I knew and taking this chance on something that I didn't know
Yeah.
that was going to work. I had no idea what to expect when I came here. And one of the highlights for me is just having that not only work, but being one of the best decisions that I've ever made.
Yeah.
So,
Definitely.
just, yeah, just basically not letting myself have any more excuses not to do something. I think was is something I'm incredibly proud of, and then I guess just following through with that, and uh, taking all the chances, and putting myself out there, and getting the position that I have now. It's kind of another thing. This is like another kind of big milestone on my journey, and meeting a lot of the people that I've met already, like Bob Bergen, and the voice of Porky Pig, and you know
Yeah. That had to be cool.
yeah, that was really cool. God, who else have I met?
Does his normal voice sound anything like Porky Pig?
No, he kind of just sounds like a normal guy. He's
Okay.
got he's not in the super high register, but he's got a higher voice than mine. Um,
Yeah.
but when he when you hear him do the voice, it does. I guess it just comes from all that practice, but like it just sounds like natural voice that someone's talking. So he definitely doesn't put on a whole lot to get there, but or at
Yeah.
least it doesn't seem like it. I don't know, because he's really good at masking it, I guess. So, but yeah, like meeting him was just phenomenal because he was just, I don't know, like there's a documentary called I Know That Voice that goes over a lot of character voice acting and voiceovers and stuff. It's really, really incredible documentary. Uh, if you are interested in voice acting, it's definitely one that you should watch because it's really entertaining, but it's also really informative about what things are like. But he's in it, and when I met him, I had this idea of like, oh, he's this like big shot, like, he's this guy that's in movies. He's Porky Pig. He's got his own studio, his own school. He's
Yeah.
like this really just straightforward, like straight shooter business type that just happens to be a voice actor. But he's just a regular dude that is just super friendly and approachable. And that's one of the things that I really appreciate about voice actors is they seem to be, of most of the actors, just the most like approachable people, the most like just down to earth, kind of humble,
Yeah.
So kind of meeting him was uh, another wake up call that I was like, yeah, this is it. This is what I want to do. This is the kind of people that I want to be around. So, um, and then just having him say like, "Oh, I've heard a lot about you. I'm excited to meet you." I'm like, "What?
Oh wow.
Wow. All right. Well, then that's cool." Um, so yeah, and then I guess another cool thing that isn't really related to acting, kind of, is
Go
I
ahead.
met my fiance out here.
Oh,
That's
that doesn't count.
Yeah, it's
No,
not. It's
I'm kidding. No, that's awesome.
well, hey, look, look. Okay, maybe it count. She is an actor, so maybe that makes it count.
Okay, it's networking.
All
You're
right,
good.
yeah,
You're
yeah.
back
That's
in.
it.
You're back
That's
in
all.
again. You're
That's
back
all it
in.
is. It's just we're only getting married for networking purposes.
Networking
Yeah,
nuptials.
it's all strictly business.
Yes, yes.
No,
Monkey
I'm just
business.
kidding. She's great. But
Good,
but
good. I'm glad to hear that,
that's
man.
that's kind of another highlight, is is another affirming thing that just made me be like, oh, I'm doing the right thing. Something's going right. The decisions that I'm making are leading me in good places. So
Awesome, dude. I'm glad to
yeah,
hear
thank
that. I'm
you.
glad to hear that everything's going well for you. I only have a couple more questions for you before we wrap this up here. But continuing on here. So, when you do record something, when you put out a product for, put out a commercial or a spot or a voice for people to listen to, what do you want the audience to remember about your performance?
Um, so for me, it's and I try and put this in, into my acting, but this is more like personal stuff, I guess. It's
Yeah.
because it took me 5 years to kind of do all this. Like, I was really doubtful of myself, that if I can do this, and I still have that to some extent,
Yeah.
so like I try and be as vocal as I can about just the nagging voice that you know I know lots of others kind of have, where it's either linked to depression, anxiety, whatever. I want
Or just imposter
Yeah,
syndrome type
yeah,
thing.
exactly. But I try and be like really vocal about what that I too have all those mental shortcomings and doubts and things, and I want to do really well, so I can show people that are like me in that way that if they really try, they can do this, that they can be successful despite what they may say to themselves. And I know in the future, like, well, when I'm able, I'm going to write more things or create things that kind of have that theme to them, just because I feel like when you have depression or anxiety, you kind of really feel isolated,
Yeah.
so you just want to feel normal. You want to feel like you're not the only one that this is happening to. And a lot of the times, it does feel like that. So if I could put myself out there and put these stories and ideas out there, like, maybe these people will connect with them and say like, oh, well, Dylan did it, so then I should be able to do this too. I I want to I want to be the reason that someone chases their dreams. You know,
That's
like
awesome, dude. That's awesome.
that's if I can get one person to tell me that because of some performance I had made them want to be an actor or a voice actor or musician or whatever thing I do, that's it. That's what I want to put out there, you know. Yeah.
Awesome, dude. I can respect that and admire that as well. Being and to be that person, I imagine at that point when somebody came up and said that to you, that just like almost make you like explode
Yeah.
inside in a way. It's like, all right, yes, I helped
Mhm.
somebody do something that they might not have been able to do
Yeah.
otherwise. So that's really awesome. Um, so now I only have one final
Yeah.
question for you. Before I get to that question, this is the time where I like to ask where people can find you on the internet. What is your corner of the internet?
Yeah, no, I have a couple of things. My name's Dylan Barrows. You can, if you want to search for me, I'll come up, on Facebook or whatever that way. Um I have an Instagram which I either post random pictures or sometimes I'll just products that I'm working on or things I'm doing.
Yeah.
It's Dylan, spell out my name, DylanIsUhdYlan. Dylan is a Dylan. Um, my Twitter handle, which so
Dylan is a
yeah,
Dylan. Okay.
um, yeah, because so I wanted to get my Twitter handle on there, but someone already took it. So my Twitter handle is was my very first email address. So I feel like I should preface this a little bit. My very first email that I had when I got on the internet on hotmail.com. Um, it's Poop Master. It's just Poop and Master. Uh,
Poop
yeah, I've
Master.
just
Okay.
stuck with that. I probably should change it so maybe people will take me seriously, but at this point,
Is that on your business card
no,
right
God,
now?
no. I see. That's the thing is like, I gotta like put that on stuff, but I might just at some point do the thing of like, all right, I'm gonna be an adult and have have a real Twitter
Yeah.
handle.
Or maybe it'll get you a job with Squatty Potty.
Maybe.
You know, like you
Yeah.
could. Oh, Poop Master
I
is the new voice of Squatty Potty.
I post garbage on there though, so it's yeah. But if you want to follow me, if you're so inclined, that'd be cool.
All right, cool, man. So I'll put those in the show notes so people can find you. So
So
if you see Poop Master,
that's
it's
me. I think
it's
right
him.
now my name on there is California Dongus because I seen the license plate that said that. So
California
yeah,
Dongus,
I thought it
huh?
was really funny. So I just yeah.
Fair enough. Fair enough. So, all right, I'll have to figure out how to put. I'll put.
You
I'll
know,
put that
just
in the show notes as
yeah,
well.
sure. That's
Why not? Click on the
yeah. Just
dongus.
click on the Dongus. Hope when you type in California Dongus with safe search off, you get good results. That's all we
Yeah.
can hope.
Who
Yeah.
knows? All right. All right, Dylan. It's been great having you on the show
Thank you.
today, and I had fun talking with you. Whether it's about going smoking crack in alleys and dumpsters, or the serious stuff like your mindset and what you had to do to get to where you are today. Obstacles you had to overcome and stuff
Yeah.
like that. So, it is time for that final question of the show, the title question of the show. Dylan Barrows, how do you live uncontained?
How do I live uncontained? This took a while, but I just kind of started to believe that I can actually do good things.
Yeah.
Um, that the sacrifices that I've made to this point, like I said, talked about it before, just making this decision to move hundreds of miles away from where I grew up, uh, knowing that whatever happened, it would turn out fine. That I was gonna make the best of it, even if things didn't, work out, and I wasn't like a famous voice actor. It's fine because I did what I could. Um,
Yeah.
then what keeps me going is just trying to best myself all the
Okay.
time, just trying to do better in whatever next thing comes. Say I have another job or another audition or another song that I write or whatever I'm doing, I challenge myself to make it better than the last time, or at least do something different than
Yeah.
I did before. Um so just getting, because I'm going to judge myself harder than anyone else ever is going to. So if I
Definitely.
can be satisfied with myself, I know that, or satisfied with what I do, I know that it's going to be a good thing. So, um, so just trying to best my own critic is something that keeps me, going forward, and you know, and kind of putting myself past like the naysayers that, I've had people that have said, like, you should take time and do this and this before, you move hundreds of miles away to go to art school. You should, you know as I'm sure a lot of other actors and, a lot of other people can relate it to getting a lot of oh, you should get a backup plan.
Mm-hmm.
I'm everyone who wants to do something in the entertainment industry or whatever, they always get told that, inevitably will get told that. So, just saying, like, why do I need a backup plan? I'm gonna make this work. I don't need a backup plan.
Yeah.
And kind of lighting that fire under your ass and saying, like, this is the thing that's gonna work. This is because this is the thing that I'm doing.
Yeah,
This is the
definitely.
thing I'm doing right now. Because if I split my time, if I say, like, okay, I'm gonna focus on acting like X amount of time and then do this other thing, you're not putting your full effort and commitment into the thing that you want. And if you're not gonna do that, then why even do it in at all? You got to put everything that you have into what you do, because how are you going to be satisfied with yourself if you don't? So,
Very true.
so just getting that out is, of myself, is kind of what I try and do to, I like I said, I just tell the people, hey, I'm not gonna do anything else. This is all I want, and it doesn't matter if you support me or not in it, because I'm still gonna do it.
Yeah,
It's
definitely.
it's not a bad idea, because this is what I want to do. This is what's gonna make me happy with my life. So you're never gonna convince me that my happiness is a bad idea.
Perfect, man. Perfect. And next time you see somebody going to med school, you should ask them what their backup plan is.
Yeah,
If this whole doctor thing doesn't
yeah,
work out, what are you gonna
yeah. What are you
do?
gonna do? You ever think about being an actor?
Have you ever, what if you kill a patient?
Yeah. Oh, you're gonna learn to code? Maybe you should go to, I don't know, culinary school or something. Learn a
Yeah,
real
yeah. What's
trade.
your backup
Yeah.
plan, man? No, you want to work in an office 9 to 5? Oh, you should have a backup plan for
Yeah.
that,
Everyone should have backup plans for that, because, man.
because it sucks.
Yeah. I can't. I did that once before. I did the office job 9 to 5 thing, and boy, that took a lot out of me.
Yeah, I hear you, man. It steals your soul a little
Yeah.
bit each day, but sometimes you got to do it to do what you got to do what you have to do what you want to
Yeah.
do. So,
Oh, I gotta
yeah,
say one last thing. One more thing that keeps me going
yes, definitely.
um is my parents. They growing up, they did pretty much everything they can for me, and they supported me through this decision that I made to go here, and they were super open and everything throughout my life. They have provided me everything that they could, even without being, like, particularly affluent or anything like that. They
Yeah,
they they gave me all the opportunity that they could, and you know a lot of the reason that I want to be successful and stuff is so I can give some of that back to them. So
That's awesome, dude. That's
Yeah,
awesome. I like it. I like it. Well, I've had a great time
yeah,
talking
me
to you,
too.
man. And I hope soon you'll be able to get your parents back a
Yeah,
little
buy him a
bit.
house or something.
Yeah,
Whatever.
you know, with the pocket
Yeah, just
change
be
that you
like,
have left over. Like, here's
yeah,
a,
oh, I
yeah,
got this from that movie that I did here.
yeah.
It
Oh,
wasn't
this
even a
just showed
good
up.
movie.
Get that mailbox money.
Yeah, exactly. Just like that was from
uh,
one of the non-blockbusters that I did, and that
yeah.
whatever.
Yeah, exactly. All right, man. So thank you so much for coming on
Yeah,
Uncontained. I had a blast, and thank you to Elaine for letting us use her studio to record again.
absolutely.
And I appreciate that. I got one final thing for you to do, though,
All
Dylan,
right,
and that is sign off the show. Will you do me the honor of signing off the show tonight?
absolutely. I'm Dylan Barrows, and I live uncontained.
And that does it for another episode of Uncontained. Thank you for listening, and thank you to Dylan for joining me as a guest this week. And also, I have to thank Elaine Clark for allowing us to use the Voice One studios in San Francisco to go ahead and record this show. So I appreciate that. And thank you for providing a place to record the interview. And although recording an interview on the street may be interesting and may actually come up here on Uncontained at some point, who knows? It is nice to be in a studio. And for all of you that enjoyed the show, please do me the favor of rating, reviewing, and sharing the show on your favorite podcast player, and also following on social media. I'd love to hear from you, hear what you think about the show. So until next time, live uncontained.